long shit. Anyways, the SCP is Dreams of a Broken World, also, SCP-2456. Item: SCP-2456. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Due to the memetic nature of 2456, as well as the high number of suspected and infected individuals, complete containment of 2456 is not physically possible with the current Foundation technology. Foundation research is currently developing thematic methods of neutralizing all 2456 instances in the wild. Access to any manuscripts documenting past 2456-Omega instances is limited to level 3 plus personnel currently involved in Project Montague. While active alpha instances are rare in the wild, SCP-2456 is categorized as a Class 3 memetic hazard and is considered a high priority. Web crawler GH739U, Lorem Ipsum, is set to scan for any keywords related to 2456-1 on various social media sites, cult databases, and domains. Once identified, alpha instances are to be retrieved by suitable field agents and brought to Site-33. Omega instances under research must be kept in a Class 3 MKHC, memetic kill zone holding chamber. And testing with declassified level 3 personnel is crossed out. All testing with active 2456 instances have been halted. Testing is limited to the Omega state of 2456 and must be under the oversight of level 4 personnel. Under no circumstances should two active Omega instances ever be introduced to one another. In the case of a breach, Site-33 is to initiate lockdown procedures, and Class 3 memetic kill agents will be dispensed throughout the facility. If 2456 reaches epidemic levels, as defined by the Ront scale, a 1 to 10 scale created by senior researcher Jacob Ront, to measure the severity of anomalous contagion outbreaks, in which a rating of 6 would warrant epidemic status. The use of protocol MOBAB in its final or prototype form is pre-approved. Mobile Task Force Trident 10, I don't know that symbol. Salt Sowers is assigned to handle cleanup after the aftermath, in addition to managing total suppression of media. Description: SCP-2456 is believed to be a memetic parasite that is present in an estimated 0.7% of the human population. 2456 lays dormant in a majority of the infected and is not contagious in its initial form. Possible signs of 2456 infection include an affinity towards astrology, astronomy, and/or various pseudosciences, an increased proficiency in speaking foreign dialects, particularly those in the Balto-Slavic and Afro-Asiatic regions. Prolonged episodes of acute psychosis and paranoia, OCD, and high attention span for geometrical shapes, patterns, and sequences of 5. Dissociative identity disorder. 2456 will leave its dormant state once several stress triggers have been activated, and the subject will then undergo an Omega event. The subject will fall into a period of advanced REM sleep, lasting to 3 to 4 days. After awaking, Omega instances will claim to have a series of vivid cryptic dreams. These consist of visions of past prophets that assorted theologies being executed by a saber or sword, and celestial bodies dancing in the sky. The 2456 strain, as found in Omega instances can be eliminated with the use of Class D amnestics during this time. Following the Omega event, the subject relapses back into a 60-day to 6-year dormancy, followed by their don't know that symbol. I guess I'm assuming a beta state. During this state, the Omega instance will begin preaching 2456-1, an abstract theology that is the only known transmissible form of 2456. Subjects infected in this way are referred to as beta instances. Infection rates are high in observed subjects, with a 70% success rate at a 4% falloff. Knowledge of 2456-1 and of its core components is not contagious. Infection requires direct auditory contact with an Omega instance or Beta instance, and the victim must have strong pre-existing religious beliefs beforehand. 2456-1 is always monotheistic in nature and can be characterized by several distinguishable qualities. 2456-1 will begin as a variation of existing theology. The number 5 will appear frequently in written doctrine. Godhead figures are synonymous with the sun and are believed to bring about a future apocalypse. Mentions of a non-existent geometric sea uncommonly appear in Scripture. Foundation Research is currently searching for a correlation with SCP redacted. Many references to celestial bodies based on existing astronomical knowledge at the time. The appearance of hands and regular quadrilaterals in religious icons and symbols. Religious symbols of the sun have some limited form of mathematical significance. (2456-1) has a weak reality warping effect that varies with every iteration and in its current initial state, virtually harmless. With every new beta instance created, this effect grows exponentially in radius and strength. 2456-1 also incites violence and aggression, commonly leading to self-mutilation and warlike behavior among the affected. Beta instances actively seek out the uninfected and will either spread 2456 infection or attempt to murder them. Dormant 2456 Omega instances are immune to infection by -1. It may aggressively react if exposed. However, exposure to -1 causes stress in the subject and will increase the chances of 2456 activation. If 2 active Omega instances ever come in contact, then data expunged. No 2456 Omega instance has been successful in infecting more than 5% of the existing human population. Current Foundation simulations indicate a CK class end of the world scenario if 2456 infection rates ever exceed 7%, with the contagion becoming virulent to a point where treatment becomes impossible. In addition to this, 2456-1's reality warping effect is likely to fracture the integrity of space-time to those levels. If infection rates exceed 96%, 2456-1 is predicted to data expunged. Discovery. SCP-2456 was first discovered by an unscheduled raid on a Surface Hand base in Eugene, Oregon. On June 10, 2016, MTF Tau 9 Bookworms was charged with the acquisition of a copy of SCP Redacted, which was believed to have been stowed in an abandoned industrial warehouse. Serpent's Hand members were discovered inside upon break-in entry, and a firefight ensued. Foundation casualties totaled 11. After recovery of SCP Redacted and other related anomalous artifacts, a wooden crate was found next to a furnace with the lettering fifth cycle of the mind stamped onto its side. The cache was discovered to contain numerous fifth texts, including an extra copy of SCP Redacted and a weathered note which read, "George, this is our last catch. Burn these as soon as you can. That your discretion. Don't let the idiots find this. LS." At the bottom of the stockpile, several aged manuscripts were uncovered that detailed past 2456-1 instances and alarmed Foundation historians about possible unidentified SCP. Below is a list of past 2456 instances. As of now, there are 6 known variations of -1. However, research has shown potential evidence of an additional redacting more. Descriptions may be added or changed as new information is uncovered. A recent server breach completely unrelated to 2456 somehow corrupted the files. Did about everything to fix it, but if anyone knows the system's still acting up, please give me a call. You know the number, Eric. SCP-2456-1A. Name, God-Worshipping Society. SCP-2456-Omega. Hong Xiaoquan. Runs scale 5. Complementary theology. Confucianism / Catholicism. Due to political instability, in addition to Xiaoquan's weak state of body and mind, 2456 was activated in early 1837. Xiaoquan experienced vivid hallucinations based on his past knowledge of Confucianism and interactions with Christian evangelicals. During his beta state, Xiaoquan went into a waxing period of approximately 6 years, after which 2456-1A was created. The local Hakka population was the first to experience infection, but rising tensions with the government led to the creation of the Taiping Army, which became the major factor for widespread 2456 contamination. Although not armed with sophisticated weaponry, the Taiping Army completely devastated the Chinese landscape during its 14-year lifespan. It had marched through entire province of China, bearing the province of Gansu. The Taiping Heavenly Kingdom of Peace only further increased in friability, but weakened as SCP-2456 infection rates slowed down. One of the more prevalent properties of 2456-1A was its ability to cause full nuclear transmutation of biological organisms. A count related to 2456-1A showed that beta instances would often involuntarily transform themselves into piles of geological matter. When researching the areas as described in these accounts, Foundation geologists found traces of human feces in saliva in pockets of igneous rock and hominid DNA bonded to sediment. SCP-2456-1B. Name, Cult of Aten. Omega instance unidentified. Bronze scale 2. Complementary theology, Egyptian mythos. Although Akhenaten of Armana was the leader of 2456-1B, evidence shows that 24... Huh?
That's Akhenaten.
Akhenaten, okay.
If I remember correctly, that's like a really notable Egyptian pharaoh. There we go. Looking for the words. I think he was the father of Tutankhamun.
Oh wow.
Yeah. If I remember correctly.
Got it.
You do remember correctly. I am surprised that you actually knew that. That was very random.
So, Akhenaten is what you said?
Akhenaten. Yeah, I had a month-long fixation on Egyptian pharaohs when I was in high school. And a lot of that information is still stuck in my brain.
Alright. Alright. Evidence shows that 2456-1b originated from a scribe or mentor that was particularly close to the pharaoh. Akhenaten was a very aggressive beta instance, using his power as head of state to condemn worship of all Egyptian deities. And temples dedicated to Aten or generally peaceful was removed.
This is slightly off topic, but actually Akhenaten worshiped to a single god that wasn't really focused on before, to remove the overinflated power, try to remove the overinflated power of the church back to the state, and he failed.
Yeah.
And he was so hated that upon his death, almost all of the depictions of him were either destroyed or vandalized, which, if I remember correctly, for their spirituality was effectively attempting to completely erase him from existence.
Yeah, also fun fact, he was probably the first anyone in history to try to get artists to paint realism.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really weird to think of. For so many years before him and after him, there was absolutely no realism, but the art of him and his wife and some plants and other things that were done while he was ruling was realism. So he really did not look pretty. His wife did not look pretty. It is thought that that's really how the royal family looked. And since, typically you don't get images of that, since they always use the pretty abstract, look how godlike our kings are.
Yeah.
They looked ugly. Ugly from sleeping with their cousins and siblings, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. Anyways, back
Anyway,
to
yeah.
the article.
Let's actually go on.
Yeah. Foundation archaeological evidence shows that instruments dedicated to self-mutilation, removal of the heart, and data expunged were present in several major temples. Several temporal and spatial shifts were common during the lifespan of 2456-1b. One scribe's account indicates that the days were occasionally stretched out and celestial bodies did not behave as they had once used to. At one point, the midday sun did not set for 5 days, causing a drought along the bank of the Nile and sparking a peasants' riot near one of Aten's temples. Additional Egyptian astronomical charts show constellations, nebula, and star systems that are non-existent or depicted in incorrect placements. Further, a place translated to Dembu appears commonly in astronomical accounts and was described as being half the size of Venus, but would pulse with light in 5-second intervals. And the Egyptian word for gold. Okay. Alright. SCP-2456-1C, name undetermined. Omega instance undetermined. Ronta scale 3. Complementary theology, Aztec mythos. Oh fuck, I'm gonna butcher the shit out of these names. Alright. Little is known about the origins of 2456-1C, but its enormous impact on the Aztecs is evident. The Aztec deity Tanatua, the leader of the Talon and the fifth sun that sit in the sky, is most likely an aspect of 2456-1C that has infiltrated Aztec culture and society. The retrieval of Aztec texts from the serpent's hand provides evidence for this theory. Sacrifices to the heart of Tanatua were very common and may have even started solely because of 2456. If this is the case, casualties linked to 2456-1C could easily number around 56 redacted and redacted. Although not complete versions of 2456-1C, worship of Tanatua still cause a mild reality warping effect throughout the Empire. Anomalous reports include accounts of the sun and moon being eclipsed by unknown celestial objects lasting for weeks on end. Rarely, cadavers from past sacrifices would reanimate and attack civilians in aggressive behavior, immobilizing them and reaching into their throats to pull out their data expunged. Coastal regions of the Aztec Empire suffered greatly from periodical glowing red poison that killed off fish in the sea, caused tissue necrosis in humans, and formed large blood clots in the lungs. This is the likely result of bioluminescent dinoflagellates.
Bright,
Yeah?
after listening to something to figure out how to pronounce it, it's
No.
What?
Tonatiuh. Tonatiuh.
Tonatiuh?
Tonatiuh.
Tonatiuh. Okay. Got it. Which is unusual given to the areas of occurrence and the symptoms of infection. Note, a codex describing Tonatiuh in detail seems to indicate 2456-1C originate from the Epi-Olmecs, a research party that has been sent to Veracruz to uncover the genesis of 2456-1C. Scheduled time of return, May 17th, 2017. Well, it's past that. I'm sorry. Alright. SCP-2456-1D, name Cult of the Supreme Being. Omega Instance, Augustin Bon Joseph de Robespierre. Round scale 1, complementary. Huh?
Robespierre.
Robespierre, got it.
Robespierre.
On scale 1, complementary theology, Cult of Reason, Catholicism again. I find that funny as Catholics are here again.
Are you surprised?
No. Anyways. Due to the small longevity of 2456-1D, not much can be said about its traits, as it had not experienced widespread friability, although it did not garner enough followers to cause intense reality warping effects. Some anomalous characteristics were still prevalent. Since French Revolution was underway, it is impossible to estimate all casualties linked to SCP-2456. However, Jacobin letters and diary entries show that Maximilian Robespierre had become more animalistic and ruthless in his executions, as well as implementing a large deadly quota. Incorporeal manifestations were visible in Parson streets, as well as sudden dimensional shifts in various salons and smoking parlors around the city. A manuscript detailing the Omega instance can be found in document 2456-A. Oh, well, shit.
I just looked this up, and Augustin Bon Joseph de Robespierre
Yeah.
is Maximilian Robespierre's brother,
Oh.
also called Robespierre the Younger. Either way, they were both important, actual, real-world figures in the French Revolution.
I don't think I can figure out this religion.
Let's see. System error. Data corrupted. That's a cool religion. I love data
Undetermined,
corrupted.
undetermined, undetermined.
Yeah.
My favorite religion is undetermined.
Wait, found in Moyer Spring, Texas?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Oh, wait,
Pecos tribesmen.
Lower Pecos tribesmen, forming a
Let me look that up.
the four-sided circle. Has my heart gone?
How much you want to guess that
Yeah.
How much you want to guess that this particular instance was related to a circuit cult?
It could be.
Lower Pecos Canyon land. Oh, this is an ancient art site. It has
Oh.
cave paintings.
Oh, it could be like from like the caveman times. Okay.
The caveman time.
I'm sorry, you know what I mean. You know what I
Right, you
mean.
know nothing about archaeology.
The
I'm
cave
sorry. I'm
times.
sorry. I'm gonna be clipped for this, aren't I?
I'm not sure how old it is you think humans on the Americans are, but they were not from Neanderthals. Neanderthals never made it to the Americas.
I know, I don't know why I said
Yeah.
that. I meant
Caveman largely refers to the Neanderthals.
I don't know why I said caveman. I meant something else and I forgot what it
You
was.
mean I'm guessing you're meaning prehistoric.
Probably, yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, let's go to the next one. Oh,
It's the way you said it too. You said it like Henry Stickmin instead of Stickman. The caveman.
oh, what is this? Interesting. Name data expunged. Omega instance undetermined. Runt scale 8. Complementary the system error data corruption. Please see a network administrator for more details. System error data corruption. Please see a network administrator for more details. Syndrome protocol off Newich. System error data corrupted. Please see a network administrator for more details. CP2456-Omega is still at large. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, alright. Document 2456/A, level 3 clearance only. So this is gonna be about 1D. Got it. The following excerpts are taken from text recovered from by the Serpent's Hand. They have been translated from their native scripts into the English vernacular, in addition to be analyzed and deemed safe from any potential cognito hazards. A full transcript can be obtained by containing the Department of Anomalous Texts. From the Wisdoms of the Heavenly King, 1861. And so the prophet stood at the edge of the heavens and looked down to the pool and where lay below. The great prophet saddened and sighed, for men and women grovelled in the filth and ash of great mountains, and so he spoke, and his children wept, for they understood standing so terribly close to the stars. He followed the smoke until the smoke had turned into steam, then mist, then vapor. He met the man from the west who lived in the south, to further his knowledge of the great dream. He studied for 5 months, and on the 5th day to the 5th month, the great prophet understood. The man from west who lived in the south left with haste, and refused to assist the great prophet's mission. The prophet was angered, but understood. The man simply needed time to itself and formulate his own opinion and vision. And so the great prophet led the people of cinders from the ashes, and they waged war when attacked. The armies of the usurper attacked at the dawn of the new year, but the sun was on our side, and we prevailed. They lost and ran, but the ones that were left behind faced the prophet, and he understood, and on the 5th day they returned into ebony tar, black sand, and white salt. Think 5 irrational thoughts a day. A student approaches his master and asks, "We are born, we develop, and we toil until our deaths. Is it not our fate?" The wise master replied, "Our world withers away 5 pieces at a time, but the stars will always die in threes." The brash student, naive as he was, called the brave master a fool. Repay all debts due before a departure. 2 men look up at the star-filled sky. One asks to the other, "Will we forever be bound to celestial bodies?" The other replies, "They have never been there, but you make it so. 5 spokes of a broken star, 5 elements that forever spar, 5 senses to evoke the mind, 5 pieces to slowly unwind. A black moon's howling is a vision unworthy of one's sight. The verse of the great hymn of the Aten, not found in an original copy of the hymn text. Thou claimest the world for its own, according to thy desire, but given the heart to its soul's son, and a king who lives in Mot, and the lord of two lands. Oh fuck. Neferk impure, soul one
Oh, that hurts.
of Re, champion of the West Nile, the humble scribe, my appreciable mentor. The messenger of the glory rises alongside you unforgotten. The stars and earth command to thy wishes. Thou alone art their lifetime, a candle in the dark. Thou rises with them, and thou shalt die with them as well. In thy cycles through the sky, thou sendest visions from the heavens. A distant mirage light fires in the water. Thou lives in the deepest trenches of the great Demithric sea. Thou didst perish among the harlots. In the 5th day of the solstice, in the 5th year of the summer harvest, thou didst suffered. But no matter the cause, no matter the threat, thou shalt live on to indulge the next world in the divine antipathy. So says the black moon of the winter months.
That was very sad.
Yeah,
You read that badly.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to say
To be
Egyptian
fair,
gods'
Bright
names.
sucks. To be fair, Bright sucks at reading standard English. You think she's gonna be good dealing with foreign words?
Shut up.
That's fair. But she wasn't even able to say Ra.
Oh,
Wait, I missed that part.
Wait, is that supposed to
Oh,
be Ra?
Re.
Yeah, it says Re,
Re?
not Ra.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
what? I was confused.
I was about to say, if you fucked up Raw, I'm gonna get an express ticket over to fucking Virginia and beat your ass. It's 2 letters. Come on. You survive a potential beating.
Yeah. Entries taken from the diary of Augustin von Joseph de Robespierre. Speyer. November 11th.
Robespierre!
Rosh
Oh my god!
I keep
I
fucking up
said
his
it like
name.
3 times! Robespierre! This is like an important figure in history. Are you kidding me?
I would try to say that French is very hard to understand and read, but you have said it 3 times.
I've said it 3 times, and this has to be one of the most well-known French names.
Actually, before we continue, in my history class, we are only told the name Maximilian. We never told the other parts of his name.
They just wait. Your textbooks were so shit that they didn't call Maximilian Robespierre by that. Like I can understand chopping out like the middle names because that gets confusing. But what?
Are you okay?
Okay. Anyway, from now on, we're only going to refer to the first president as George. The second president was John. The third president was Thomas. We're never using last names anymore. Last names are for pussies. We only use first names, and if you don't get it, sucks to be you.
I'm sorry, but last names are us. And my reference would be Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
True.
Anyways, back to the SCP.
But yeah. Anyway.
November 11th, 1970. Wait, 1793 to 1827. July 1794. 21 Rue Mayer second. Oh, fuck, there's French.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna fault you for not being able to pronounce this shit.
La fatigue de la raison
Where's Apollo when we need them? They know some French.
has been unimaginable success. The Jacobins. Oh, wait, why did I say like that?
Did you say
Jacobins!
Jacobins?
I instinctively did it like with the French thing. Just
It is time for us to talk about the Jacobins.
me too. My mind just immediately went with it. Oh my god. The Jacobins parade in the
You can do
streets,
it.
throwing flowers into the air. Children sing and laugh. The era of change has begun, but alas, the age of tyranny has not yet ended. The Frenchmen pride in their progressiveness, but it is too soon to celebrate. 29 Brumaire, 2nd. My dear brother Maximilian has voiced his concern about the cult of reason. I received the epistle from him while I was in my parlor, requesting my sole presence in the redacted salon during the twilight hours. Expunged for possible connection to SCP Redacted. Uh-oh.
Do you know what twilight hours are?
Like, during, like, around midnight or something like that?
No, twilight hours range from anywhere from sunset to sunrise. Anywhere
Oh,
between those hours.
got it.
You know, I'm starting to think maybe this is just as bad as fucking Keter tier listing at this point because I'm still getting an eye twitch. It's just I'm listening to Bright instead of bigoted bullshit. The effects are the same on my physiology.
We love you.
Anyways,
Ah,
I found him in the corner reading a paper in a booth, and he met my gaze with leering eyes. He raged on and about the vileness of the feast, the hypocrisy of the officials had organized it. I sat on the opposite side, pipe in hand, and stared at him bemusingly. My brother is a visionary, but at times like these, his thoughts simply consume him. Give him time, and he will understand there's nothing to fear of change. 23 Freemaire, 2nd. I dreamt a most peculiar dream last night, but unlike the rest, it has invaded my reveries. A vivid thought that eats up my very mind. Oh, god damn it. Say that state Quoon unintelligible.
You could have just read unintelligible.
I'm
It would have gotten the same effect. You're good. You're good. This isn't even actually mocking you here. I would have just read unintelligible.
Okay.
honestly, French is so hard to guess. Even I would have done it bad. Like what? Well, now you scrolled away from it.
Oh, sorry.
So, like, how would I have tried to say it? See, Tate Queon, which is just as bad.
Yeah.
Hatchet, would you like to go?
Se netwet kunen.
Okay, you did better. I think.
Watch Hatchet's pronunciation be correct.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Yeah, 30 Freemaire, 2nd. I see the dream more clearly now. A belligerent ruler that defies all odds and expectations. It will reconquer the world using France as its figurehead. The Pope slain, the King dead. The world's servant, for all in the glory to the one true King. People separating both the science and the spirits of the world. A king must always exist in society. My brother must reason with me. I must share the wonders of this illuminating message. 13 Navos, 2nd. I have received a letter back from my brother. In it was nothing more than a crude sketch of a ship sailing on the sea, far away into nothingness. I worry for him sometimes. I shall send for a carriage tomorrow. I take myself to his home. I only wish to share the dream, but it seems to have become a new obsession. 14 Novase II. I knocked at his door, but no answer came in return. It seemed almost as if no one had lived there for some time. I paranoidally began to believe that my brother had vanished alongside my good friend Sebastian, who I would no longer find ever since I shared my dream with him. However, I continued my racket until the door slowly creaked open. The terrifying expression of my brother peered out behind chains. He relaxed upon realization that it was just my sole company and hastily ushered me inside. He poured me a cold cup of tea and began to bash me with questions about the dream. I told him everything, even the thoughts of colthood that wretched my very mind. He grew visibly excited with every new sentence and began to write notes in a small sketchbook of his. I share his joy. Change is always good for the heart, but I fear for his health. His hands are like those I've seen in medical journals, of the dead and dying. 15
Nuvos
Hmm?
15.
A second.
Was that the date it had?
No, it was 14th Novose the second.
Okay. 14th Nivose the 2nd. That would be January 3rd.
Oh,
Yeah, it was part of a French Republican calendar date. So whoever did this was kind of a nerd.
Yeah.
Alright. 15 Novose the second. I have returned. Huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Jerry just pronounced it 2 times correctly. Navos.
Navos. Oh.
And then you keep saying Navose.
Shut up. I returned to his Tennessee, but nobody was home. The neighbor says that he saw my brother leaving his abode in the early hours, but fuck. uh,
You know how to say his name.
Say the name, Bright.
Robin Spire. Spire's destination could not determine.
You skipped his
You-
name.
I said it. I said Robin Spire while laughing.
What? Wait. Okay, say it again without
Rubbish.
laughing so that we can hear it.
Rubbish Spire.
Oh,
Rubbish fire.
boy.
You just called Robespierre a trash fire.
Of course, gonna clip this too.
You know what? Think of it like this, Bright. Put
Yeah.
Rob and Pierre together. Rob's Pierre.
Yeah.
It is Robespierre.
Yeah, that's why I said I tried
Yeah.
to break it down because Rob and Pierre,
Yeah.
even outside of history, are super, super common. So just think of putting Rob's Pierre together.
Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
what.
Rob's
Yeah.
Pierre.
Okay.
I asked if he thought my brother looked ill with any malady, but was astonished to hear the antithetical. Most curious.
Melody.
No.
Did he look ill with any malady? Okay, now, Bright. To confirm that we're not going to have this issue again, after we've just explained a trick to pronounce it correctly, can you say the name Robespierre?
L'Oreal.
Robespierre.
There!
Nice. Nice.
Perfect!
Now,
Everyone give
L'Oreal-
Bright a gold star.
Very nice. L'Oreal is is April and May like some weird month thing on that during that era. Florial 18 was May 7th.
Got it. Florial 18 Florial the second. Oh, god damn it. Uh, Le
When you
Cote.
think of
Oh, sorry.
to pronounce Florial good, just think of it as L'Oreal.
Got it. I'm gonna butcher the shit out of this. Le Cote de l'Etre Supreme has been formally announced. The members of the council gamble with suspicion, but give it time, and time we need, and our members will surely amass.
Grumble with suspicion. They're not gambling with suspicion.
We get what that. The
What?
more it feels like the
dyslexia. Right.
No,
feels
I
like
don't.
the more that it feels like the more that we point out your fuck ups, the more fuck ups you're making. Are you doing this for content, or is this just the pressure getting to you?
I don't know. It might be pressure. I don't know.
We love
Or are
you.
you just this bad? It's one of the three. We love you, but also what the fuck?
Yeah. Think missing. I have begun seeing it. Our power grows and a nightmare swells. The other day I was sitting on a bench reading a book of poetry and a man approached me. He asked me for Louise Dole. Like some tramp
Dion.
Diola. Like some tramp that infests the streets. But he said that he needed a coin to pay the ferryman. Otherwise he wouldn't be able to cross the stream. He held out his hat and I put it in. The man said nothing in return. How rude. But the headless can't speak after all. And so he went on his merry way, the sun reflecting his patches of bones, and disappeared after passing the trunk of an oak tree.
I looked up what a Louis Dior is, and it's a French gold coin. That's a lot of money to ask for.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
The day after I entered the local salon, but a crisp cloud of smoke and water enveloped the air. I had accidentally stumbled upon a smoking room, but not any normal smoking room. The Duke of
I have no idea.
Dirkwade?
Dirkweed? Dickweed? The Duke of Dickweed?
the Duke of Duckwad? Sorry.
You know what? Anything, and you couldn't put anything considering that is probably one of the weird glitches. So we probably don't have that name.
It's either a weird glitch or just downstream of French being filled with unnecessary consonants.
Yeah.
I could look it up if there's a Duke of Derwood.
I want that one. I like that pronunciation better.
Duke of.
Anyways, set on his sequin throne. Sequin throne, got it. I fearfully trembled and bowed down in the presence of the gracious Earl, and kissed his left foot, and he graciously patted my head with one of his bulbous hands. The other held a long opium pipe. The third, a scimitar? Say that correctly?
How the fuck did you manage to say scimitar correctly?
He did somehow. She's scimitar fine.
What the?
Just so you know, Bright, that's a type of short sword specifically designed to chop heads off.
Oh my! What the? Why? I don't know which is more baffling: the amounts of mispronunciations, or when you just like mispronounce something that, or like when you pronounce something correctly when it's a word that I would have been entirely expecting you to mispronounce.
Maybe she was able to do it because it's a sharp, pointy thing.
Oh yeah, Bright can only get 100% accuracy pronouncing things if it has to do with weaponry.
Oh my god. Anyways. But alas, the last two were chained. The 5 heads scowled in scorn as they fought their shackles. and he roared like that of a wonderful beast, a monster worth sacrifice, a lion worth giving one's flesh. Let him feast, like wonderful maggots they grow on my skin. They ain't missing.
Ugh.
The streets run pink with blood and agony. I can hear their screams even after their heads topple in the basket. So much blood, blood and blood and blood. They erupt from the corpses like geysers and daggers in the dead of night. It's not enough to satiate a growing hunger. My brother doesn't understand. He slogs through the nightmare hoping to enter the paradise. Empty promises from an empty Lord, but he is our Lord nonetheless.
They didn't bleed that much. I guess it's his weird hallucinating.
Yeah. Alright. 9 Thermidor second.
Okay, let me look that date up.
Watch me actually say that correctly.
I'm barely paying attention now because I'm putting together a list of slightly hard to say weapons in history to see if Bright can get them right.
There we go. I
Fuck
have
you.
Thermidor down.
Oh my
And
god.
you said it was Thermidor, 9 Thermidor. So
I
let me
actually
look up
said it
9.
correctly.
July 27th.
Thermidor.
So Thermidor 9 is July 27th.
I kind of like the word Thermidor. It actually kind of sounds nice.
It sounds like a fantasy name.
Yeah.
Like someone you
Honestly, all these months that the French used for a brief time are all kind of cool sounding. I
Yeah.
wish they kept with this new calendar. It's really cool.
Yeah. Anyways, forgive me, dear brother. In these past few days, the entire world has been afflicted with la menace. I am as guilty as you are, but you should not have not deserved such a demeaning fate. I gave you those inbred thoughts. The dark whispers that consume me have taken a hold of you. You've lost something in your eyes, brother. It has been replaced with a bright and poisonous light, like that of a distant star. Now, not even your death will win you your freedom. Punish me, O king. Let me suffer for those who have suffered.
Oh.
Addendum 2456-1, level 5 clearance only. On December 21st, 2016, during a scheduled comb of Foundation servers, a firewall sounded an alarm in response to an unidentifiable audio file sent to researcher Samuel Redacted. No Foundation credentials could be found, but the file was traced to a cubicle that had been vacant for 6 years. Server logs show that the terminal had activity logged the day prior. Unusually, the hardware had been short-circuited and badly corroded, with traces of pyruvic acid, sea brine, and burnt heart tissue found in the CPU. Although the terminal was not damaged beyond repair, the file was one of few items deemed salvageable. As the rest became corrupted from the damages, attempts to restore the full audio file had failed. A transcript of a recovered portion can be found below. Worked with the Foundation 20 years ago, I've seen men bleed out because of song dedicated to a goddamn mountain. I've heard of a skip that forces its victims to suture their mouths shut. And I've tested countless declass on books that break their bodies, their minds, and whisk their existence away into the land of fiction and fantasy. But now it's me that's dying, if you could call it that. In truth, my soul is slowly burning away, and I'm fucking terrified. I don't know how much of what I'm about to say is true. Simon probably had the best understanding of this thing out of all of us. Simon, now that's a name I haven't heard of in a long time. But it doesn't really matter. He's gone now and no one seems to care. It's just me, Simon, Charlie, and Audio Corrupted. We are assigned to 2456 ever since it was first identified. Our mission was simple, to catalog all past occurrences of -1. So since the first time I dealt with the memetics, Nor was it the first time I dealt with the Keter class, but this task seems simpler than my previous ones. Testing with the D-class numbs you down after the first couple of weeks, but you never really get used to it. I was actually almost relieved once I got transferred. Adio corrected was the first one to go. 1 minute I was having my lunch with him. The next he's on the floor screaming about visions of the sea and the archons of the Trollopic world. They dragged him to the infirmary, but not before he managed to stab a guard's leg with a dinner fork. I asked to see him after an hour had passed. Imagine just how surprised I felt when I was told that no patients had been admitted in the past 4 hours. The script is relatively new. We just don't fully understand all of it, and it seems we only have a fraction of the information. And that's where the danger lies. To simply put it, there's a third state of 2456 has gone unrecorded. A gamma state, if you will. Picture a DNA molecule. How does it create proteins? I know, ask any lab boy that question around here and they'll scoff and treat you as if you're some kind of half-wit. Well, not to bore anyone with the specifics, but basic protein synthesis requires two major steps. The first one, transcription, has RNA polymerase, building RNA molecules that detail instructions. DNA translation, in its most basic definition, is the RNA molecule being read, and that creates the product. tRNA first brings methionine, and the chain ends with either amber or ochre or opal. Congratulations, you just made the primary structure of a protein. 2456-2 is an incredibly potent anti-meme capable of causing dramatic and localized dimensional shifts. It is very delicate, very fragile, and requires careful preparation. A beta instance is the indirect vector for -2 infection. Whenever a beta instance writes information about -1, a gamma instance is created. If the subject reads the gamma instances, there's a possibility that -2 will enter the subject. The subject will slowly vanish from existence, and all records and knowledge of the subject will disappear alongside it. However, this process is incredibly flawed. Sometimes the corpse is all that remains, sometimes just a name, and from personal accounts, -2 is capable of causing vivid hallucinations and depositing false memories in the subject. Simon kept telling me stories about his life while he succumbed to this thing, and he always seemed to change. We didn't know this at first. Charlie told me that was probably a phantom alphabet, causing us to become ghosts. I told Charlie to shut up. I honestly don't know what stupid fuck hired that man. Simon thought he was the brighter one. He had a theory that 2456 has more to it than meets the eye. He went missing 3 days ago. We were in the same room. I just turned around for 1 second, and he's gone. Only his favorite coffee cup and the one that's always by his side, where Snoopy's wearing that goofy-looking Christmas hat, lay half empty on the floor. Why didn't the whole fucking world collapse back in 2005? The entire US population had practically read the damn monstrosity. Personally, I'm not too sure. I think that something went wrong. I think the Fifth Church doesn't fully understand 2456, and so SCP-1425 failed to become a stable version of 2456-2. Gamma instances can't create beta instances. 2456 has just becomes too weak at that level of infection. Instead of beta instances, 1425 created alpha instances. But even then, I think that it did work at some level. What was that woman's name? The talk show host. I only just realized that she never really appeared. Foundation doesn't have a full understanding of this particular skip. The problem is it's not the parasite. 2456 is the dream. A stone-breathing king rests dead in the water. Fractured into 5 pieces, he shuffles through an eternal nightmare. An usurper has claimed his throne, but he is not fully unconscious. The fifth king has set his sights onto this world and will burn the earth with an undying flame just to punish the traitors that knocked him away. His anger is the one that's unbridled, and so he shares the dream. They are chosen for a specific reason. They were his champions, destined to share the world with his glory, destined to bathe the world in the blood of his interlopers, and remind everyone of their true master. Even the strongest hunger, and sometimes they just gotta take a little bite. Sacrifice by blood is what it desires. Sacrifice by souls is what it requires. I felt it happening to me too. Even as I write, they whispered to me, unintelligible. I dream terrible, terrible things. Sometimes of the number 5, sometimes of the number 6. Rarely of the number 4. I feel them too, writhing in my skin, and possible cognitive hazard as well. That explains many things. Of a little lambent liar looking in the lonely sea. A special scar signaling songs ever so carefully. And men that mind may find unintelligible if they dig a little too hard. If you ever wonder what happens, ever wonder what the phrase AA means. And footnote 9. Unknown. No, stop it. I'm digging a little too hard, aren't I? But just wonder how far down does the rabbit hole go. As deep as the tower door bringing me to the land of Hinduism and fun, or as deep as the great lake whose sordid inhabitants float in the water and stare into the fiery abyss of the great sun. My time is almost up, and just remember. Why do you think we never know? The foundation is old, but the road is older. Most likely we have had some help, a group as old as the fifth king, trying to put an end to his nightmare. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Serpent's Hand was partially involved in keeping his forces at bay. After all, we did find no similar instances in the late coup. But now they are in the hands of the Foundation, and they will never be destroyed. I can hear the feels of asphodel calling my name. The air is suddenly getting thicker. I can hardly smell the sweet sea breeze. Follow the smoke that sits underwater. Listen to the flaghorns calling for the dead companions. The sea foam crashing against the tide. I am not ready, for I am not worthy. This was Senior Researcher John Richards signing off. The one last thing before I stepped into the water. Once history is forgotten, it is of course doomed to repeat itself, and Six-Cycle will forevermore echo. Note: Foundation records of the persons listed in the transcript, in addition to one John Richards, are non-existent. However, these men may be related to sudden unexplained disappearances of Foundation officials. A Foundation audit is currently underway. 053.
Also, back up a bit.
Yeah?
That's pronounced the Fields of Asphodel.
Asphodel, okay.
That's one of the regions in Greek mythology's underworld.
Gotcha. So, where the fuck do we put this?
I mean, it's pretty obvious. It said at the beginning that if enough people were
Right.
infected with this, it'd cause an XK.
Yeah, and honestly, even the people we got the information from was wiped out of the Foundation memories. They're like, no, we never had people like this, but there are missing personnel. If it literally says they're wiped out of existence, that obviously means you won't have.
Here's one thing I'm wondering within the SCP article. I wonder if burning those stuff that Summerthan was trying to do would have been a good thing or a bad thing.
That's the question.
Fuck if we know.
Right.
All I know is that, at least a half hour of the last, hour and a half was spent with us taking breaks to mock Bright or share stories,
Yeah,
which is great. I wouldn't have these any other way, especially with these really long ones because they can be a slog.
it felt like we learned something about Bright today. Like, she had issues learning to read, but even her issues were still not as bad as my reading. But she still had issues worse than mine.
Yeah.
I learned reading after you, and I am so better than you at reading.
Alright, here's the picture. Next one is actually in the article.
Oh yeah, how much longer were you wanting to stream?
I can probably just, depending on how long this is, probably just this. Oh, it's not that long. Yeah, probably just end off of this one.
Oh, this one's fun. This is fun. This is fun. I'm reading this one.
Okay.
This is a that image is a pretty well-known thing in like extraterrestrial cryptozoological stuffs.
Yeah.
Do you want the background before or after the article
Yeah,
itself?
we can do the background now. This is also nicknamed Dark Satellite.
Yeah, so this is an image that was taken from a satellite, if I remember correctly, or a shuttle, one
Yeah.
of the two, by NASA, where one of the reflective panels on the side of the craft broke off and started, drifting away into Earth's atmosphere. But this image was taken by conspiracy theorists and cryptozoological nuts and just spread everywhere as this idea of like a dark night satellite that's an extraterrestrial satellite here to do something to Earth.
Huh.
And
So,
it's just literally space junk.
it's
Yeah, it's
actually,
literally just space junk.
that's
But
actually kind of funny how it's actually nicknamed Dark Satellite. When you said it,
yeah,
when it was, that's actually kind of cool.
well, yeah, like this is very obviously an SCP that's based off of those cryptozoological nuts losing their shit because because a fucking spaceship had a reflective panel fall off.
Yeah, apparently it used to be safe.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, okay. Give me a sec. I need to take my headset off and brush my hair. Okay. Item number SCP 2460. Object class Keter. Previously safe. See Addendum 2460 B. Special containment procedures. Due to its position and properties, SCP-2460 is not contained at this time. Space agencies are to be informed of 2460's trajectory so that satellites and launches do not collide with 2460. When doing so, 2460 is to be listed as a large piece of space debris. No object is allowed within 50 kilometers of 2460. Any matter colliding with 2460 must be reported to the Astronomical Tracking Unit at Site 195 immediately. In the event of a collision, the mass, density, and Schwarzschild radius of SCP-2460 must be remeasured and its resulting new orbit trajectory calculated. Also, I just realized I forgot that I was gonna test Bright on some random weapon names. I guess I'll do that after. Don't let me forget to do that.
Maybe.
All right. Description 2460. Why did I stop as if that was the title of the description? Description 2460 is a gravitational anomaly in elliptical orbit around Earth. It has an orbital period of 4 hours with a furthest with a furthest distance from the surface of the Earth 1200 not 1,200, 12,430 kilometers, and a closest approach of 395 kilometers. Measurements of the gravitational anomaly indicates it has a mass of 1.25 times 10 to the power of 13 kilograms. At the location of the anomaly, there is an apparent object of approximately 50 meters by 30 meters by 15 meters. This gives the object a measured density of 5.51 times 10 to the eighth power kilogram meters squared. Kilogram/meters squared, which is approximately 100 times the density of the Earth and close to the density of a white dwarf star. The shape of this object is variable in appearance, with components of different materials appearing to erupt from the surface of the object, only to be reabsorbed. Furthermore, the object is virtually invisible. Excuse me. Virtually invisible to electromagnetic radiation and has no measurable charge. Magnetic No measurable charge, magnetic moment, or wave emissions. However, despite this behavior, photons in the visible light spectrum still interact with the object, albeit at a low albedo of 0.01. The anomaly behaves very differently on the quantum level. 2460 is comprised of a bosonic matter that anomalously maintains much of the structure of fermionic normal matter. Or fermionic. Fermionic. There. I hate science words. This anomalous construction causes the Pauli exclusion principle not to apply, allowing matter to occupy the same quantum state as other similarly composed bosonic matter. Oh, excuse me. Composed bosonic matter. In addition, electromagnetic interaction is suppressed. As a result, the bosonic electron fields between objects in SCP-2460 do not repel each other. The net result of these anomalous quantum effects is that multiple individual objects within SCP-2460 occupy the same place at the same time. What appears to be objects growing out of and receding into 2460 is actually thousands of collocating objects oscillating about the gravitational center of the anomaly. The exceptionally high mass of 2460 is the result of these thousands of individual objects occupying the same location, all gravitationally bound together. It is important to note that this collocation is not a spatiotemporal distortion, but the net result of the lack of interaction between individual objects in the anomaly. There is no risk of reversion to a Euclidean space, because the space is already Euclidean. The influence of the gravitation of thousands of objects acts as a strange attractor, keeping each individual object within 105 excuse me 105 meters of the center of 2960 at all times. The chaotic nature of the attractor has caused multiple objects to be shown at the surface, of 2460 at different intervals. Most of the items expressed are space dust, rock, debris, similar in composition to asteroids. The following items are notable, however. A planetesimal with the above dimensions, 50 meters by 30 meters by 15 meters. This object acts at the surface of 2460. Of note is the distinct lack of cratering on the surface. A comet nucleus of approximately 5 meters diameter. Visible spectral analysis suggests that the object's original location was the Oort cloud. Oort cloud. A spacefaring vessel of unknown make, 6 meters in length. The hull is covered with unidentified symbols. Through a plate glass window, two beings are visible, apparently long deceased and desiccated, resembling crocodilian humanoids. Approximately 1,000 metric tons of hydrogen and helium compressed under gravitation into a superfluid state. 90 capsules, each containing a strange humanoid occupant, each collocating independently from the others. The occupants are apparently dead and desiccated. Foundation probe OU 11-3 and Agent Rick Roberts, deceased. See Addendum 2460-B. Addendum 2460-A. Excuse me. On February 15th, 2013, a stray orbiting steel bolt attached to a retaining plate from the redacted disaster was seen to be captured by the gravity well and collide with SCP-2460. It was observed that the collision caused no impact site and the bolt passed through the matter without hindrance. However, post-collision, the bolt and plate no longer registered any electromagnetic field deformation. Further observation demonstrated the bolt remains attached to the plate, confirming that the collocation effects of items caught within the anomaly does not extend to items that are exposed within milliseconds to it. The observation further suggests that all objects seen in 2460 were at one time normal fermionic matter, transformed by the anomaly into the presently seen amalgamation. It is hypothesized that the anomaly annihilates the quantum spin of the subatomic particles, transporting the matter from fermionic to bosonic and allowing it to collocate. Containment procedures updated to prevent further matter collisions. With 2460, further testing is suggested. Addendum 2460-B. February 5th, 2014, SCP-2460 was noted to pass within 70 kilometers of Foundation Orbital Unit 11, and a sortie was authorized to intercept the anomaly for quantum measurements. Agent Rick Roberts was sent in probe OU 11-3 to examine the anomaly at close range for testing the quantum signature of the matter within the object. Radio contact with probe OU 11-3 ceased when the probe came within 5 kilometers of the central mass, approximately 0.5 seconds before loss of contact. Apparent density of the low Earth orbit medium was seen to increase from 1.0 times 10 to the negative 11th degree kilograms slash meters squared to 7.3 times 10 negative 9 kilometers dash squared. All remaining data from the experiment comes from the cameras aboard Orbital Unit 11. Agent Roberts quickly noted the lack of radio contact and engaged thrusters to maneuver away from 2460. The fuel was seen to ignite and pass inefficiently through the hull and cabin of probe OU 11-3. Unable to adjust position or trajectory, probe OU 11-3 was gravitationally captured by 2460 and fell into the central mass. 15,534 kilometers or kilograms added to the mass of 2460. Trajectory and Schwarzschild radius recalculated. Containment procedures updated to include a mandatory distance of 50 kilometers. Presenter, Dr. Cordelia Argent, Principal Researcher, Astronomical Phenomenon Division. Forward. Dr. C. Argent presents the results of her observations and experiments with 2460. Dr. C. Argent. Good evening and welcome. I want to thank everyone for coming this evening. Tonight I am going to explain what exactly 2460 is and the risk it represents for the Earth. I could explain the fermion to boson conversation called quantum spin annihilation, explain how this interaction is possible under a version of supersymmetry, the transformation of quarks to squarks, and so on. But I'm sure that would go over most of your heads. You could learn it all, but you're here to understand what this is and what it means. I'll spare you the physics. I'm sure you've heard stories of walking through walls, ghosts, radio waves, certain anomalies, etc. Phasing is a popular term for it. In essence, 2460 is a collection of objects, asteroids, comets, nebula materials, stellar mass, and more, all phasing through each other. It's important to recognize that this phasing is the sole reason all these objects exist in the same place at the same time. This is not a spatio-temporal distortion, at least. Not anything more than is fully and non-anomalously explainable via its gravity alone. However, what is less explainable is the lack of electromagnetic interaction within SCP-2460. Firstly, this means that there is no radio communication possible with anything within the anomaly. Radio waves pass through it as if it wasn't there. This is also what leads to the phasing effects we see. You know how we are made of atoms, and atoms consist of nucleus surrounded by an electron cloud? These electron clouds are negatively charged and push each other away, and that's why we can't walk through walls. But within SCP-2460, the electron fields between objects introduced at separate times don't interact, don't push against each other, and as a result, don't stop objects from passing through one another. But wait, you're probably asking, isn't the photon the why is this word breaking my brain? That's not gauge. Gauge boson for the electromagnetic interaction. Why do we see anything? Okay, you're likely not asking that, but I did. First thing, the truth is, we don't see most of 2460. Experiment 2460-B proved that. We saw the medium density around the probe OU 11-3 increase nearly 1,000-fold before losing contact. There is a cloud of massive particles that have nearly no interaction with the normal matter, extending as far as 5 kilometers from the central mass. There are only two ways these particles interact: gravitationally and rendering normal matter that comes in contact with it out of phase. These particles are invisible and otherwise undetectable. All remaining mass was added subsequently, acting as an anchor for the particles. That's why we can see the massive objects in the center. What's the risk from this? Well, it is exceptionally dense, and thus perturba- perturbations from its present orbit will preferentially cause the orbit to decay, resulting in SCP-2460 falling to the Earth. Now, since it remains phased out, collision with the Earth won't cause any impact crater. However, the quantum spin annihilation will affect all matter that the anomaly passes through, resulting in invisible holes of phased out ground. 2460 will pass unhindered through the center of the Earth, transforming matter the entire way, leaving a giant hole through the center of the Earth that the liquid mantle and core will gush into. The crust and surface eventually falling, unsupported, into the hole. But it won't end there. The momentum of 2460 will propel it all the way back out of the center of the Earth, back to the surface, where it will gravitationally oscillate back and forth, rendering more and more of the Earth out of phase with itself, like Swiss cheese, until the entire planet collapses into a central super-dense pile of untouchable rubble, cons- constitu- constituting a QK-class quantum degeneracy end-of-the-world scenario. So, I'm sure you agree that we want this thing as far away from us as possible. The problem is we can't touch it. We can't use thrusters to push it away. There's nothing to push against. We can't deflect it with magnetic fields. There's no electromagnetic interaction. We can only use gravity to pull it away. That means that we will need to tow an asteroid of similar mass into low Earth orbit to carefully slingshot the anomaly away from us, then destroy the asteroid somehow. An asteroid approximately 22 kilometers in diameter should contain enough mass to eject the anomaly. Recommendations have been submitted to the O5 command. But I'm sure you actually are all asking, what is this, and why did it end up here, orbiting around the Earth? Well, it is an amalgamation of weakly interacting massive particles, invisible to electromagnetic radiation, emitting no radiation of its own, and possessing only gravity. In short, ladies and gentlemen, SCP-2460 is dark matter. And when you consider that fully 85% of the mass in the universe is dark matter, we should not ask why we are so unlucky to have a chunk of it orbiting around the Earth. We should ask, why are we so lucky that we haven't hit any of this stuff yet? Thank you and good evening. End log.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we not fully understand what dark matter is yet?
I don't think so. In fact, if I remember correctly, it's still like in a hypothesis phase.
Right.
We kind of have some ideas. Yes, it's hypotheses all.
I know we pretty
It's
much.
very hard
Yeah.
to study something like dark matter after all, despite that it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
I think that we pretty much understand what antimatter is, right? Or is that still like hypothesized like dark matter?
I I've never even
I've
trying to
never
think.
heard of antimatter, so
Yeah, outside of fictional contexts. Antimatter is the twin of almost all the subatomic particles that make up our universe. The matter in our universe comes in many forms: solids, liquids, gases, and plasmas. These forms of matter all consist of subatomic particles that give matter its mass and volume. Okay, well, maybe I
Oh,
should just read the overview. In modern physics, antimatter is defined as matter comprised of the antiparticles of the corresponding particles in ordinary matter, and can be thought of as matter with reversed charge, party, and time, known as CPT reversal. This is a whole lot of shit that my brain doesn't understand in the slightest.
so okay, so we do know what antimatter is.
Now, what if a human touches antimatter? Matter and antimatter particles are always produced as a pair, and if they come in contact, annihilate one another, leaving behind pure energy. That's
So
fun.
death.
Yeah. What would 1 gram of antimatter do? In terms of how powerful such an explosion would be, just 1 gram of antimatter colliding with 1 gram of matter would release as much energy as a nuclear bomb.
Damn.
Fun. So anyway,
Anyways,
this is pretty
yeah,
obviously an XK.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much
Like it's
stated.
it's yeah, it's just like, hey, just so you know, this chunk of dark matter, if it passes through Earth, we're all dead. Like that's just the entirety of the last like part of the article, which honestly, I think they only put it there so that people who don't understand physics massively can understand what the fuck is happening.
Oh, that sucks.
What happened?
I clicked the link of an asteroid approximately 22 kilometers in diameter, and it's a removed
Placeholder.
SCP.
Uh,
Oh, it was recently added in, like January 19th, 2025. And got removed.
uh,